Alright, and welcome back to our Microsoft Excel video learning series. We're going to be focusing on the first of 3 videos centering on Chapter 3, which encompasses Excel charts. So we're going to be looking at some chart basics, what is a chart, the components of a chart, and also the various types of charts that you can create within Microsoft Excel. So before we get started, let's actually define what a chart is. A chart is a visual representation of numerical data that compares and reveals trends or patterns for aiding in making informed decisions. So when creating a chart, we have to ask ourselves a couple of questions. Does the worksheet hold a single set of data, or does it hold multiple sets? And is the data occurring over one specific time or multiple periods of time? And this is going to help define what type of information that you're wanting to convey to your audience. And you do that by selecting the data, and we'll go through that a little bit later on in the video. But I want to cover some of the basics here. The first component of the chart, or the first input of the chart in the data, is the data point, and that would be considered each cell containing a value. In addition to the data point, you also have what is called a data series, and that is a group of related data points that display in rows or columns in the worksheet. So let's get into the actual chart components itself. I have a chart here showing an example of monthly expenses, again over a period of time. This is going to be a calendar year, and we have 3 of the various monthly expenses identified here. So for the first component, we're going to have the chart area, and that's the container for the entire chart and all the elements. The plot area is going to be the region containing the graphical representation. So within this general area here, the values in the data series. There's going to be 2 axes that form the border around the plot. Here we have dollar figures for expenses, and then we also have the months of the year. You have the x-axis, which is the horizontal border, and you have the y-axis, which is the vertical border, and both of those provide a frame of reference for measuring data, depending on if it's the x-axis, going to be from left to right. For the y-axis, it's going to be up and down. And then the last component we're going to look at here is the legend, and that's just a key that identifies color, gradient, picture, texture, or patterns assigned to each data series. So you can see here we have 3 different types of monthly expenses: electric, gas, and water, that are indicated by the various the identified various colors within our chart here. So now that we've identified some of the chart components, let's talk about some of the chart types. So the first chart type that we're going to talk about is the column chart, and this is going to display values in a vertical column where height is indicative of the value. So the taller the column, the larger the value. Categories are displayed, again, along the horizontal axis. The second type of chart is a bar chart. This displays the values horizontally, where, again, length equates to value. So the longer that the bar appears from left to right, the greater the value. A line chart. A line chart displays category data on the horizontal axis and value data on vertical at the axis. It's used to show a continuous data depicting trends over time, and that could be in months, years, decades, or even in larger increments. The next type of chart is a pie chart. This is, again, a chart that shows proportion of individual data points in relation to the whole. So each one of the components of your data chart and your data series is going to make up an entire pie there, of which various sections will be identified by the data points. The next one is a combo chart. This is a combination of 2 types of charts, for example, a line chart and a column chart, to plot different data types. For example, you can look at values over time, as well as how those values equate to percentages over the same time. A couple of other types of charts that are probably used less prevalently is the XY chart, or are commonly called a scatter chart, and then you also have the stock chart. You can read, based on the presentation here, what those two types of charts do. But again, those are primarily they're very specific in nature. So before we continue on with any more of the presentation itself, let's go ahead and take a look at doing some chart creation. So I've got a spreadsheet here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to identify some of the data. And again, as I mentioned here, you have these cells here with values called data points. So each one of these individually is a data point. And if we look at these in columns and rows, these are a data series. So this would be the data series for 2010, and this would be a data series for 2020 in terms of the headers here. So let's go ahead and first step in creating a chart is to select the data that you're going to use. So again, we're going to go ahead and we're going to select the first column here as well as the next two to kind of create our chart. Two ways you can create a chart. You can use the quick analysis tool that is open for you here. Again, you can select the chart and create the type of chart that you would like to create, or you can do it from selecting the insert, going to up in the ribbon here. Again, you can select the various types of charts that you want to. So for this first specific worksheet that we're going to be looking at, we're going to go ahead and we're going to select a column chart first. So insert a bar or column chart. We're going to go with a 2D column chart. You can select a three-dimensional, but again, for educational purposes here, we're going to go ahead and keep it very, very simple. You'll notice as you highlight over the various charts, you can see exactly how the chart is going to look based off of what chart and what chart type that you select. So I'm going to select a 2D column chart here. And you'll notice here that it gives you a representation of the chart itself. So you have, over here you have again the number of jobs. You have the different types of jobs along the x-axis, and then you have your various values based off of what was selected from the source data in our worksheet. So again, based off of the type of chart, it's going to go ahead and create that the type of chart. Let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and change this type of chart. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the chart, and we're going to go ahead and select again. And this time we're going to go up to insert. You can also select, again, these other various types of charts in here. You can select a stacked chart. So again, this will give you a stacked value of the data that you are selecting here. So again, in this particular scenario, we're creating a stacked chart where the values are stacked on top of each other to show a breakdown of the total number of information in that particular data series. We can also look at creating a bar chart, and as mentioned, the bar chart, very similar to a column chart. The only difference is it's rotated about 90 degrees, and the values are depicted from left to right. So again, there's your bar chart. You can create a stacked bar chart. Additional types of charts that you can actually create. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and create from the quick analysis tool. So you can go down here, and if you don't find whatever chart that you're looking for, again, you can go ahead and click this more icon, and it will give you the types of charts that you can create. So when you go to insert a chart, it will give you an initial on the first tab of the insert chart, it'll give you actually a recommended chart for the data that you're using based off of how Excel is able to determine that in the logic in the program. You can go to the all charts option, and again, you can select from there the various types of charts that you want. So again, if you want to create a line chart, again, you just select the chart that you would like to create for that. Based off the information here, since we're looking at comparison from 2010 to 2020, a column chart of some sort or a bar chart would probably be the best representation that we're looking for, given the type of data that we're looking at and how it's formatted within the worksheet. So my recommendation to you is to go in here, create yourself, either use a worksheet that you have, go ahead and or create a worksheet, and just go in here and kind of get familiar with all the various types of charts, specifically the column, the line charts, maybe a pie chart in terms of the data again that you're looking at, and just get familiar with how each chart is created, and determine what chart you need for conveying the information and the trends that you're trying to create. So again, just go in here and create your chart as you need to, and again, get familiar with the chart itself. Now, once you have your chart, one of the things that you can do is you can move the chart. So if you want to have your chart display next to your data, your information, you can you can move your chart to display there. Another option that you can do is you can actually go into this icon here and click the Move Chart. It will go ahead and give you the option of where you want the chart to be placed. Do you want it to be placed into a new sheet called Chart 1? You can actually put it into another object. Since I have Outlook open here, it will allow me to put it in Outlook. But I'm going to go ahead and create the chart into a new sheet called Chart 1. Click OK. And my chart now is displayed in another spreadsheet or another worksheet within the workbook, and is given a title. So again, go ahead and get familiar with creating charts. You can use the pointer to go ahead and change the size of your chart, and print this as you would any other document that you would. So again, this is a first session here for charts. Tune back in for session 2 and 3, where we cover some more information specific to the chart components, and the elements within it.